Almost 350,000 people are moving to and living in Florida every year. You want to know why? Join me today. Google this search term in your computer right now. How many people are moving to Florida each day? On the first page or two, you will find the data. About 875 to 1,000 people are moving here daily. That's about 320,000 to 365,000 people every year. And that's about the size of, an Orlando every year is being created in the state. Hey, it's J-Dub, MrDowntownDelray, living here in Delray Beach, Florida. If this is your first time to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe to it. Hit that bell so you're notified every time a new video drops. Last week, I was having a conversation with a dear subscriber about how he thought I was selling you on living in Florida. And the fact is, I'm not selling you anything. I'm just here to answer your questions if you're contemplating and thinking about living or moving here. I live in Delray Beach. I chose this place about 7 years ago, and every year Delray Beach is getting better, and so is Florida. And that was the same thing when I went to Costa Rica for 13 years. What an amazing place. And he and I were talking about how, previous video you can take a look, about how I was comparing Florida to California. I did that because I lived in California for about 30 years. So I was able to give both, the good and bad and the good and bad of both states. But here's the thing. If you want to live in Florida, you want to learn all that's going on here, or where I am in Delray Beach, you need to get the right information. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So if you're thinking about living in Florida, let's get into the top reasons why about 1,000 people each day are making that decision. Let's talk about retirement first. For those thinking about retiring in a certain state, I'll put the link down below to this article last October by U.S. News and World Report, where they talked about the top 50 places. Well, guess what? Florida has 14 cities in that report. That's about 28% of the top 50 are right here in Florida. That is what I call total domination of the retirement scene. And in that report, 8 of the top 10 are here in Florida, and the top 4 are here in Florida. Domination. So if you're thinking about places like Arizona or Texas, those are great spots too. We'll talk about those other states one other time. But Florida, in terms of a lot of reporting, if you do the Googling of where the top places are in the United States, Florida is going to come up one and all and time and time and time again. And of course, no conversation about Florida is without talking about taxes. So let's talk about some taxes and some data for you. Of course, in Florida, we call it the instant raise rule of about 5 to 10%, depending on what state you're coming from, where you do pay an income tax somewhere between 5 and 10%. Come south to Florida, that's eliminated. Not only will you get a raise of about 5 or 10%, but each year around tax time, you don't have to spend hours and hours doing your state income tax. That's a benefit for a lot of you folks. But think about it. There's also the cost of living. Here in Florida over the last pandemic years, 2020, 2021, our real estate has gone up a lot, just like most places that you live today. So people talk about what's the cost of living here. Well, even though our real estate is up, still cost of living in Florida is about 2% less than the national average. And I did a video up here you can take a look at where I show you with some graphs and charts all about how Florida, compared to other states like California, our cost of living still remains average or below, while a lot of other states are much, much higher. Now let's take a look at the job situation. I'm not sure if it's these 1,000 people a day who are coming here who are creating the jobs, or if they're coming here because the jobs are already here and they're taking them. But let's take a look at this information just so you can have a look. Unemployment rate is 3.2%, down just a little bit compared to the month before, and still down lower than the national rate. Florida statewide unemployment has been lower than the national rate for 16 consecutive months since the end of 2020. Florida's statewide unemployment rate has declined or held steady for almost 2 full years. Between March 2021 and this year, Florida's labor force grew by 325,000 people, or 3.2%, faster than the national labor force growth rate of 2.4%. Between March 2021 and this year, total private sector employment grew by almost 500,000 jobs, or 6.5%, faster than national average of about 5%. And March 2020, Florida employers have added jobs for almost 2 consecutive years since 2020. So as you can see, Florida is either creating a lot of jobs or it is putting people into existing jobs that were here previously. It might be a good idea for me to talk about in another video. Talking about new job growth, take a look at this. New tech employment jobs added in 2021. Look at that. Texas leads by a little bit over Florida, but what about Silicon Valley? Look at that. Half of the tech jobs are in California compared to Florida and Texas. So people clearly are leaving places like California for these no state income places. They can get the jobs and they're not having to pay these state income taxes. That's a trend that's going to last a long time, and that's why almost 1,000 people a day are moving to Florida. And of those people moving here and living here, guess what? They're coming from the north. A lot of migration is coming from north-south to Florida. Those people are going to enjoy the benefits of not having to put their heater on during the winter months. That's incredible savings. But the fact is in the summertime, yeah, we do use a lot of AC electricity. So there is a balance. But you're not going to be freezing when you move to Florida. And here's the other thing. A lot of people move here also are going to be experiencing a global effect, a global culture. I think the number is, if you do the research, about 95% of the people that live here were not born here. So they're not natives. These are people coming from all around the US and from like Brazil and Argentina and Europe and all over the place. So it's a big melting pot. And that's actually quite a lot of fun. And then when it comes to lifestyle, which is a dominant reason why people move to Florida, well, let's take a look at a bunch of things. First, let's start out with what you can do all year long. You can bike, you can swim, you can motorcycle, you can golf, play tennis all year long. That's right. Even swimming in the Atlantic Ocean in January, February, not a problem. You don't need a wetsuit. You don't need to stay away from it because it's too cold. You're diving in. The other thing is bicyclists. If you live near the beach like we do here in Delray Beach, bike cruisers are all over the place. It's a part of our lifestyle. The bigger the tires, the better. The cooler and lower the bike, the more cruising and activity you have. You just kind of flow like all the rest of the people here and just live a lifestyle where you get tan all the time. And for those people who do live in the city of areas like a Delray Beach or Fort Lauderdale or some areas in Jupiter and whatnot, you can buy a golf cart and it becomes a part of your lifestyle. My wife and I have one car and we're about to get a golf cart, and that's our second car. You can get a used golf cart that it's street legal with seat belts and all that good stuff for about $6,000, maybe $6,500, all the way up to $12,000 or $15,000 if you want to look like a hotshot. All depends on what your lifestyle needs are. And for those 365,000 people who move here and now are living here, you're going to dive right into a lot of the local food and fruit that we have. Most of you probably been paying a lot of money for things like avocados and bananas and mangoes and pineapples. Well, guess what? You can grow right here in your backyard. Matter of fact, a lot of people that come here to Florida don't realize that we don't have soil, we have sand. We live right on top of a sand pit. So things like mangoes, avocados, bananas, papaya. I've got 9 papaya trees in my property. Got coconuts, got all this fruit that all you do is plant it, the water comes, and you're going to look like the best green thumb your friends have ever seen. And more about our lifestyle. Being a realtor myself and having done it in Costa Rica, where we used to, don't tell anybody, but we used to actually give people beers when they come into our office because that's just the way it was. But here in Florida, I usually tell my customers, hey, if you don't mind, I'm just going to be myself and I'm going to wear flip-flops. That's right. If it's a hot day, like 90 degrees and it's July, I'm wearing flip-flops and shorts, and that's just the way it goes. That's part of our lifestyle. So dress down, get casual, let's have a good time together. And take a look at this short little blip that I took of my daughter last year. Michaela, you're inside a rainstorm. What are you going to do?
Clean the car.
Wash the car. It is pouring outside. Starting in May, we get heavy rains. That's kind of the tropical rain season begins. And what we do that's pretty cool is we actually go outside when it's raining and wash our cars. Hey, going to save on water? When it's coming down at 2 inches an hour, not a problem. Just take some soap out there and scrub a dub. And the other thing is hats. If you had like a collection of things like shoes and other things, in Florida, you're going to become a hat collector. Whether that's a fancy foo-foo stuff for your wife or girlfriend, or if you're going to be wearing golf hats. I think in my closet I've got like, I'm embarrassed to say it, but about 90 hats. And last but not least, but certainly not the last of all the last of the last, basically shorts and dresses rule. Sunshine fashion is in, business fashion is, leave it behind. You don't need to bring that here. So hopefully you like this video, but I want to leave you with something special. I put together this relocation guide specifically for Delray Beach because we're living in Delray, but you can live wherever you want to in Florida. But if you're thinking about coming down here, if you've been watching my videos and this is a place you've identified, click on the link below. It's my free relocation guide. It's full of things if you're single, if you have a family, if you're looking for top schools, if you're looking for great gated communities, if you're looking for medical stuff. I have it all in my guide below. It's totally free. I spent hours putting it together for you. I'd love for you to grab a copy of that. Give me your information. If I can be of help with you as you look at different cities here in Florida, give me a call, send me a text, send me an email, send me something. I just want to help. And hopefully I'll see you next time.